Okay, so what's this?
Cast iron skillet. Actually, it nearly wasn't the one that I wanted. Amazon stitched me out, kind of. You actually know about this, and no one knows who you are. So, it's my housemate. She lives here sometimes.
Sometimes.
Cooks here sometimes. Lives here now. Didn't before. Will later. And as you know, I'm moving soon, and she takes over. So, I thought it's worth teaching her what a cast iron skillet is. Something over there is that you've seen before, and how to cook a good steak. Because when I'm gone, who knows what's going to happen.
House will burn down.
Yeah, maybe. But I won't be here. It's fine. So first things first. This isn't water, of course. That's not what it looks like either. It's wine. But this is a cast iron skillet that I got because I saw it on Amazon, and I really felt like they stitched me up. And we're both living here at the time, so you can account for how angry I got about the ordeal and how often I came back to it. But I ordered this one because it looked really good. It is essentially a Lodge number 12 rip-off. It looks exactly like a Lodge, except it doesn't say Lodge on the handle. But then as soon as I ordered it, and I clicked on the link again, it was a different product. So they had the same link and a different product with a different price that was out of stock. And it was a different size and it didn't have that handle. So I was really scared. But it turned up and it's exactly what it says it is. Almost. It's a 12-inch cast iron skillet that's essentially a Lodge knockoff.
Why is there an egg in the pan?
Why wouldn't there be an egg in the pan?
Okay.
Eggs are important for this. There's a lot of eggs in my videos. If you watch my videos, you'd understand.
Okay. I'll consider it.
Alright, so some pros and cons. Like, I ordered this because it was $43, and cast iron pans are normally like 100 to 150 for a good one. Especially the one that this is a knockoff of, the Lodge 8 to 15 series, which are just 8 to 15 inches, are about 140 bucks. So I thought, this is, it's a pretty good deal. And it said some other things like it's super seasoned, and seasoning is like with anything cast iron, it's not Teflon, and it's normally really gritty and doesn't work really well. So the more you use it, the more you cook in it, it gets seasoned, which is when you're using oil, like canola oil is really good for seasoning, and you cook and it kind of glues itself to the bottom. That's the seasoning. What's happening, in my understanding, is the long chain molecules, and I forget which molecule it is, it starts with P, break down into smaller chains that kind of turn into a hard plastic. It's almost like Teflon. So this is meant to be super seasoned, and oddly, it's really smooth. Like, feel that. That's not how cast iron normally feels. Squeaky too. So flip it over. That's what cast iron normally feels like. That's, as you've seen, as you look at it, it's meant to turn to this after a lot of use. But this one turned up like this, and I was really curious. So I did cook in it before. I have already used this, and I wasn't happy. The seasoning was crap. It stuck. Like, I had a big chunk of steak stuck in the middle, and you probably recall that too. You weren't there?
Probably was.
All right. So I thought I'll scour it right back until it's grey, so this turns completely grey, and then I'll season it again. I used canola oil, and I've seasoned it 3 times now. What I noticed when I scoured it back is it's not gritty. It's not this texture underneath, which is concerning, but it also means it wasn't super seasoned, like I said. Can't expect much for 43 bucks, to be honest. That being said, I'll grab the scales, see how heavy it is, because cast iron is always heavy, and the Lodge 12 weighs 3.6 kilos, sorry, 3.46 kilos. This is lighter, weighs 2.7 kilos. So that's definitely an advantage, and there are some brands out there that are lighter, but if you get a heft of that, with one hand as you normally use it, you wouldn't hold it like that if you're cooking, I guess. It would burn you.
Would you hold it with one hand?
Yeah, but with a tea towel.
Oh. Yeah, I don't think I could do that. I think I'd need to burn.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy. But the advantage is, and especially cooking steak, is that it's got a lot of thermal mass. So you can heat this thing up till it's rip-roaring hot, chuck your steak in, and the surface that the steak hits, A, ideally if it's seasoned right, doesn't stick, but B, it doesn't lose any temperature. And that's what browns the outside, converting those proteins into sugars, called the Maillard reaction, and that's what makes a really, really crunchy, delicious outside on your steak. Not too crunchy, not like a biscuit, but you know, that brownie.
Yeah.
So yeah, otherwise, nice short handle. My understanding of the short handles is so that you're less likely to knock yourself on it or grab it when you are cooking with it, because these things will be 400 to 600 degrees. You've got the handle on the other side, which not all Lodge ones have. You have the pouring drains on each side, which most of the Lodge ones have. You have this weirdly flat polished base, which isn't cast irony at all, and I'm hoping actually works well. And otherwise, it's a $43 cast iron fry pan. So we'll cook with it. First things first, going to crack an egg in it and see if the egg sticks with no oil. What do you reckon?
Oh, I think it will stick.
Yeah, I'm dubious. I'm almost thinking it will stick too, but at this point, it's nothing to do with the fry pan. It's down to my seasoning. So if you want a really good cast iron pan, try to find the oldest one possible online because they don't get any thinner. They just build a better and better seasoned layer. And you want it to be seasoned properly, but generally you can tell from the pictures if it looks flat and black, it's seasoned well. If it looks like it's uneven or there's like rust spots or it's grey, it's not seasoned well and they're just not worth the time you put into them. But if it's flat and black like this, but ideally not polished black, as you can almost see in those rings there, that's going to be well seasoned. Otherwise, you don't put it in the dishwasher, you don't use soap on it, you don't scour it, you just rinse it with hot water and you cook with it again. When things do eventually start to stick, that's when you season it just by rubbing some oil. There's different oils you can use. I'll put a link in the description to a little chart. I use canola oil, thin layer of it, upside down in the oven at maximum temperature, ideally about 400 degrees for 2 to 4 hours. And that's when it turns black. If you still see any grey or if it's not all black, like this isn't a great job even for a third layer, just keep doing it. So the egg shouldn't stick, but if it does, that's not the pan, that's my seasoning. If it doesn't stick, I'll be very happy, but the steak is the more important one. So for this, we're going to use the, get that out of the way for a tick, going to use the NE110 nationwide electrical induction cooker. So I've tried a half dozen induction cookers so far. This is my favorite. It's quiet, it's fast, it actually cooks to the temperature it said it would. Child lock, timer, lots of different functions, and you can control it with these functions, or you can manually set the settings yourself. And it cooks to a fairly wide degree. A lot of them are really tiny. This one's pretty good. The only downside is it doesn't have rubberized feet. And I mean, they're rubber, they're plastic, but they look like rubber. That does have a level of danger to it. So make sure you use this in a safe area. One of my lights just turned off. 2 of them turned off over there. But I like it, and it does have a grill mode. So we're going to try that, and I don't mean we're going to put the steak straight on here, although that would be very fun. It should just get very hot, which is the idea. The oil we're using is grapeseed oil. The reason I use that is it's got a really high smoke point, so when this does start smoking, you're probably going to be at 600 degrees. Could be wrong, but that's my understanding. And we'll bring it straight back from there. But should do the trick. So that goes on. That goes on. And actually, we're going to fry first. We're going to fry an egg. So induction cookers are always loud. Is there anything else you notice about them?
No, nothing.
All right. It's got a lot of buttons, a lot of lights. They are generally straightforward. They do chew a lot of current, so you can't usually run them off a generator when you're camping unless you have a big generator. They are very power efficient though. So a lot of people say compared to a lot of other cookers, including gas, they are more energy efficient and they are more environmentally friendly. They're also portable, of course, although you can get them built into your house. And they have a lot of different options to make cooking, they have a lot of different options to make cooking easier for you. They're not compatible with everything though. Anything you use on top, such as this, has to be compatible with induction cooker. It's got to have a ferrous core of some sort. So glass, no, out of the question. Not magnetic. Stainless steel, cast iron, yep, magnetic. They're getting warm. The things that don't work, you'll find, are aluminium, but a lot of them now are making, a lot of brands now are making aluminium pans that have a steel or copper or both layers in them. Copper's a great heat conductor, but it does melt easier, so that can conduct the heat right to the surface, and the steel adds a bit of strength. So you're getting this multi-layer, like aluminium, steel, copper, whatever sort of combinations.
Right.
This one though is just iron. Cast iron, which is only a step up from pig iron, which is very brittle. Cast iron is still brittle, so if you drop this on something hard like a concrete surface, it usually won't bend, it will shatter, like in multiple pieces. But yeah, just don't drop it. Think you can
It's
do
heavy
that?
though.
Yeah, and use 2 hands.
It's hot though.
And wait for it to cool. I don't know how to help this situation. Alright, so that's getting up to temperature and it's getting pretty hot now. So, do you want to crack an egg?
I feel like this could go very wrong.
Sorry, you can just, the whole egg and shell and all can go in if need be. That's the easier route, but if you want to, well, it might splash on us. But if you want to eat it, then crack it like a normal person. Didn't quite go as planned. So I'll say the fry pan's hot. Taking out the compost. What was that, the blue? Is that like shell flakes?
Yeah.
Alright.
That's where my face.
That's it. Alright, so first things first, can we just jiggle it and the egg slides? Oh, right. Well, that complained about, the egg's complaining. That complained about not having something on it. So as soon as that induction's gone, it knows. The egg is popping a lot for some reason. And don't. Is fairly stuck. So it did start to come off at the sides, and you can see could probably do another coating and it would do better, but that's a no. So that's down to me. That is not any effort whatsoever to do with the pan itself. What we'll do now, we'll take this off, scrape the egg out and give it a quick clean, and we'll try the more important one, which is the steak. That period retains no heat, it goes cool very quickly.
It's lovely.
Sorry?
It's lovely.
That's definitely going in the video.
Why?
This is awesome. You go, it's lovely. So I gave it a quick clean, and as you can see, it didn't stick very much in some places. Like that actually cleaned really well, but then there's a few spots where it really stuck, and that's still pretty hot. That's all my seasoning, and you can actually see there are some rings where it hasn't stuck at all. That, I mean, mixed minds about it. It can be the quality of this, so depending on how they've cast the iron and that material surface has a lot to do with how it's going to be seasoned. So I might have to do a lot of coats of seasoning to make this worthwhile, and I will try that in the future. It could also just be my quality of seasoning. You might be able to season a perfectly flat pan like this. I've just not seen it done because there's, you know, the oil's not a thicker layer in there. When there's lots of little micro imperfections, the oil can actually sit overall thicker and forms a what do you call it? Non-stick?
Yeah, I guess so.
Teflon, like a Teflon surface.
Yeah.
So we should try a steak. Pretty much the only reason you use something like this is if you want to do a shallow roast. So pour a bit of oil in, put all your veggies in, big bit of lamb or something in the middle, and then put a cast iron lid and do a slow roast. You can do it over your campfire, induction cooker, over a gas stove, or even in an oven. It can work much like a Dutch oven in your oven for cooking something in enclosed space. Probably not bread, but try it and find out. So we're going to do a reverse sear. I have a nice 300 gram piece of steak here. This is a porterhouse I just picked up today, and I've had it sitting at 46 degrees in the air fryer for about half an hour now. Now we need to get the internal temperature up to about 54 degrees to make a medium rare steak, but that looks pretty good. Would you eat that as is?
Hell yeah.
Yeah?
That looks so good.
It does, but it's not actually cooked. It's just kind of pasteurized, essentially. So we'll actually cook it properly. It is looking nice and tender. This was only a $14 steak too, in Australian dollars, so whatever that is in freedom money, I'm not too sure. Pat it down a bit, put that in there, wipe up the extra mess we made, and this also just isn't doing too well. Now we have two. What?
I'm sorry?
It started to splinter from being old or used, or I don't know, and now we have two.
Okay.
So I'll give this one a wipe down. In fact, I'll just turn it over. That's the easy way to clean things. If anything's ever dirty, turn it over, clean. So we've got a clean one, and then we've got the one with the raw steak, which is still edible, but best not to risk mixing your raw meat and your cooked meats because it can go pretty bad and you can get pretty sick, and I don't want to encourage that, at least not publicly.
You just turned the dirty half around.
Upside down.
It's still there.
I know, but this side's clean, so we can put the cooked steak on that.
That's not how germs work.
It'll take them a while to climb over the side. Germs are tiny. You've got at least half a day before they make it up that. So we'll need to do the same thing again. This is going to be a little bit different though. So this is theoretically safe to eat, and it's cooked, and it's a pretty nice kind of 300 gram inch thick steak. I'll make sure that internal temperature is right. That's about to splinter into more pieces. So I wanted it around 46 if possible, and that thing going through it. It's still going up. I'm going to assume it's about 46. If it isn't, it's going to be close enough because searing it is going to bring the temperature up by another 10 degrees or so. And for medium rare, we want around 55 degrees internal, and we can kind of keep an eye on that by the way it cooks too. So we'll get this going again. Do you want to hit grill? And now let's get this up to temperature and refill our drinks. Alright, so now we've got our drinks back and this is going, I'm looking at this thing that says 180 degrees and I'm not hugely happy with that. Also, don't know why I got the oil out because we're using cast iron, force of habit I guess. So I'm just going to manually change this to whatever the maximum it can do is.
I think that's the maximum.
Yeah, there might be more lights that aren't shown or it might go higher and just not, just in case. Hot, want it really bloody hot.
Okay.
Do you think it's hot?
I think it's as hot as it's going to get.
Test it.
Should I?
No.
Oh.
It's smoking though, so it's cleaning itself. Eventually, if we leave it like this for a while, all that egg will go away, it'll be clean.
Cool.
Science. So, cook a steak, and I can tell straight away from the sound of that sizzling that that is going to stick. I can also tell it's lost a little bit of its temperature. Where's my sauce? That didn't hold as much heat as it should have, which is really weird. This is lighter though. We saw it was over half a kilo lighter, so it might be that it's got a thinner base on it or something like that where it's not retaining as much heat. But still going to be better than using one of those, you know, little kind of how big is that, like 2 mil thick stainless steel fry pans.
Yeah.
What you'll see straight away here is the heat rising up the side and the steak slowly cooking. So it's browning and coming up the side. You can kind of just see that from the camera angle. If I turn this around, you might be able to see it a bit better, just. We want to let that get to about 3/4 of the way up for what we're doing. Smoke alarm might go off too, so we'll see how that pans out. And in a moment, we'll flip it over. Once we do flip it over, we're going to chuck some butter in and add some garlic as well. And that's going to add a lot of flavour. What I did forget is we should be salting it. But we can salt that when we flavour it, and I'll drop this back to 180. That smoke alarm is about to go off. Or the batteries are flat. No, they're not flat.
It's flashing.
What's the broom pole for?
To get the smoke alarm off. Jesus.
Yeah, dance to it. Let it go. Let it do its thing.
No.
Alright, my fingers taste like steaky salt. Would you say it's about 3/4 of the way up yet?
Yeah.
Alright, flip it over then. Okay, it's stuck at points but not at other points it looks like. So you can slowly separate it, work the tongs down. So this isn't what a good cast iron fry pan should do. If you pay $140 for one, it won't do that. Flip her over. Ooh, alright. So we can also immediately see there the heat wasn't evenly dispersed. That's perfectly fine, but you see that's what you want. That is a delicious looking bit of steak there. Tastes like it too. So on this other side, I'm going to sprinkle a bit of salt on it, and then we're going to add some creaminess to it. Assuming that's due to where the centre is on the induction cooker as well, just as a off chance. Move it slightly. Chuck some of that in. And how much butter do you reckon?
All of it?
All of it?
Yeah. That sounds right.
Yeah, no. Maybe just a few of those.
Okay.
Just like right on top of it.
Like a full one?
Yeah. Yep, that's it. That missed those two needs another one on top now.
Wait, so I have to do 2 more?
No, just one right on the middle. Like, want it to melt over it. Yeah. Excellent. That's a lot of butter. You can lick the spoon if you want.
You can. Yeah.
Delicious buttery goodness. Tastes like heart problems. So, oh, my mouth is so greasy now. I'm going to give this a little bit longer, and everyone always says only ever flip your steak once. No, that's like an American backyard dads thing who like complain about each other or like, you know, call each other out on their lawn mowing or the height of their socks or what beer they're drinking. You flip your steak till it's goddamn done. That bit's nearly done, but I'm going to flip it again for that in a moment. And what we'll do is we'll just... That didn't actually stick much at all under there. Turn it back up. Alrighty, let's get some like garlic mixing around. A lot of extra flavours. Nice and hot. I'd say that is nearly done. You can see there again, it lost a bit of heat. Yeah, I didn't have it turned up as high as I did before when I first flipped it, but not exactly what I was looking for. I'm still happy with that though. As far as the steak goes, I'm happy with that. As far as this pan goes, I've so far got mixed feelings. What's your thoughts? Would you cook with this?
Probably not, no.
Why?
I don't know. Well, it's super heavy for me, for starters.
Super heavy for most people, yeah.
I absolutely would not be able to lift it with one hand.
Alright. Can use two, it's got a handle on the other end.
I am very likely of burning myself that way.
Valid point. I've burnt myself a lot too, which is why I'm also wearing this apron, so you can see. I think you'd also, in my opinion, from seeing here, you'd struggle not to clean it with soap.
Yeah.
So, what the main trick is, like, if we get this pot, for example, this is the best way, no joke, to clean a cast iron pan. I've lost my rag. There it is. You get the pan without burning yourself, and everything just goes in there. And then you get some paper towel, and you scrunch a bit up. Newspaper works really well too. And I mean, you shouldn't have those sticky bits, they might come off as they're starting to flake off, but you know, the idea is if it's seasoned properly, that's clean. The bit of butter and the oil and everything like that's just part of it and becomes part of your next meal.
No.
Yeah, that's how they work.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have that bit. You can see the steak, especially the first time, stuck a bit more. But if you scrape that off and just cook more and more oil onto it, that won't happen. And then when that does happen, that's when you need to re-season your pan. So we know we need to season this. It's not super seasoned, like I said. But I mean, $43. You still wouldn't use it, even $43?
Well, I haven't seen a proper cast iron pan in use, so I have nothing to go by.
You can buy me one. They're only like $140.
You can buy me one.
What for? It's
a housewarming present.
It's my. Yeah. You already live here. It's my YouTube channel. All right, so let's have a look at what this looks like then. This definitely needs a sharpening, but I'm pretty happy with how that looks. So, grab two forks out.
That's a pretty good steak.
That's really good. So there's two extra things you can do, or should do. One is this side of it here. As you can see, it's called the fat cap. So at the end, you want to get it rip-roaring hot until it's smoking, and see the fat cap just by literally placing it like that. That breaks down the fats and makes them really, really soft, so you don't get any chewiness. A lot of the chewiness is already gone from that, you probably noticed. The other thing though, what we didn't do and should have, is you set it down and you wait for about a minute. So when it's being seared on both sides, all the juices are either evaporating or escaping that seared spot, so they're going to the middle. When you sit it for a minute, they'll all kind of like get back to the outside. Doesn't really change the flavour much, it just makes it a little bit more edible. But in my opinion, the cast iron making a steak taste like that is worth it to me. Does it taste different to a fry pan steak to you?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But you still wouldn't do that?
No.
What if it didn't stick? If you had a proper fry pan, there was no stick, so you just you cooked your steak and wiped it clean and put it back on the shelf.
I just feel like there's too much danger involved.
Okay, there is. That's why cast iron has been mostly replaced by, modern fry pans.
Yeah, I'd rather not burn down my first house or have a shattered cast iron pan in my kitchen.
It's only $43. You can buy 3 of them for the price of a normal one. In fact, that's
Probably
a good
could buy a new leg or something though.
That's true. Very true, especially it's hot. But all in all, my verdict is I'm happy to have another bit of cast iron. I've got a couple of things now. Don't use them often because I've not seasoned them properly. And this has been a good experiment. You can see like that burnt oil on the bottom is actually really hard. Like that's not, there we go, just starting to get through now. So it takes a lot to get through it. A few more layers like that, it might be usable, but you've got to be aware that the maintenance then, whenever you do get down to the surface and you start sticking, is going to mean you're going to have to really season it. And I think it's because it doesn't have this texture on here. So I think they've made it look really good by smoothing it, because when it's well seasoned, it should look smooth and glassy. And I think that's why it's so cheap. It is a bit lighter and it has lost some temperature, so it's definitely not the best cast iron pan. Would I use it? Yeah, I'll use it again. I don't know if I'd buy it again. For whatever reason though, I can't put a link below for you guys to buy it because it's not listed on Amazon anymore because they stitched me out.
Oh.
So saved you one there, but I will put a link to the Lodge number 12. Lodge are a very well-known brand of cast iron pans. I will buy one day. It might even be a housewarming gift to myself or to both of us, who knows. They make a lot of things good, especially roasts, especially meats. For now, I reckon we dig in, enjoy the rest of this. Leave us a thumbs up or a like or a subscribe or a comment. Don't really care. All of the above is good if you want to know more. And hopefully next time it won't take me a month to make another video. Till then, have fun.
Yeah, okay, this is the way it's going. The steak is going to get massacred.
Mm-hmm.